H2S toxicology data and exposure limit. H2S is a compound that is known as hydrogen sulfide. This compound has therapeutic effects at extremely small doses, but at elevated levels, this is a very toxic substance and it has the potential to kill. Gaseous H2S is still one of the most common poison hazards in occupational workforce settings today. Properties of hydrogen sulfide. This gaseous substance gives off the smell of rotten eggs, although if one is usually smelling the smell, it's likely too late. It is slightly heavier than air with a specific gravity of 1.19 at 15 degrees Celsius. And along with its toxicity, H2S is also flammable, explosive when enough volume of it is in the air, and it is corrosive. Where does H2S come from? H2S, it can be created environmentally, usually in a place with lack of oxygen, where organic materials are being broken down. Also, there's usually sulfur in that system of being broken down. Geothermal emissions can represent the largest amount of environmental H2S. And H2S can also be formed in relatively industrial places, such as paper pulp companies, chemical plants, and petroleum refining companies. The regulations of H2S in the United States. OSHA's limit for H2S is 20 ppm per 8-hour work shift, and OSHA's peak limit, if no other exposure happens throughout your work shift, is 50 ppm for up to 10 minutes. The ACGIH's limit for H2S is 10 ppm per 8-hour work shift, and the NIOSH's limit for H2S is 10 ppm per 8-hour work shift as well. So usually the same amount of regulations, but OSHA happens to focus on the peak exposure if there is no exposure to you throughout your work shift. And then finally, H2S exposure. What will happen to you when you're exposed to H2S? If a person is exposed to high amounts of H2S, symptoms will occur that one could look out for, but usually if symptoms are occurring due to H2S, it's likely too late. But some of the symptoms include headaches, delirium, convulsions, tremors, skin and eye irritation, as well as other symptoms, but these are the main symptoms that you should be looking out for if you're in a place where H2S can be exposed to you. H2S is a gaseous substance. That's what you're usually looking out for to keep yourself safe in the oil and gas industry, but there's also liquefied H2S. And if you're exposed to liquefied H2S, usually frostbite will occur. And now, as we've explained before, a high H2S exposure with big concentrations will usually cause unconsciousness, which then will lead to death due to the high exposure of H2S from the unconsciousness.